My conversation today on Behind the Act is with Kevin Barry. He's an artist, a songwriter, and the front man of Borderline Natives. And today we're talking about the difference between building followers and an actual fan base, and what Kevin's excited about moving forward in this complex music industry today. I'm Seth Schaefer. This is Behind the Act with Kevin Barry. In order to be a good songwriter, you have to be getting over addictions and be breaking up. Is that what you're saying?
That's all. That's all you have to do. Yeah, dude. One really bad breakup, dude. You can ride that wave for 10 years, dude. You know, you're like, I got over her, but you're like,
so funny. How do people find your music? Not like where do they go, but like literally how have they found it?
It's been interesting, dude. It's obviously like playlists. Playlist is a big one, but a lot of it is I think through we've been a lot of word of mouth stuff. I think in the first few years here, it was a lot of like people just seeing us play at like local spots, like the End and stuff like that. And then we just kind of, we get a lot of stuff through Instagram and stuff like that, which is like social media in itself is a tool and also a
life suck.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, we care so much about it now. It's crazy, dude. It's just like, because for me personally, dude, if I didn't have like a music thing, I don't think I'd do socials. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think, or I would have stopped after like high school, that kind of thing, you know? Because I feel it's just, you know, we're all trying to impress people that we don't really talk to, you know?
Right.
Like even in your personal stuff, or just like everyone's got to know how good of a time I'm having right now.
Right.
You know,
totally. We should be live streaming this Instagram.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and that's what I think. Like, it really went up after COVID because that was like the grand equalizer for people, and we all knew what we were all doing. Like everybody was doing the same thing, nothing. And now it's like, ever since we were able to go back out, everyone's like, I'm out. I gotta let people know that I'm outside. I'm on vacation or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, dude. I'm sure you feel this way too. If there's stuff that you're doing that you're enjoying, you're like, cool. You feel it in the back of your head, the burning sensation to pull out your phone and like,
right.
So, but like, then if you don't do that, you're like, but I like this for me though, you know? But then you got to then you do the bare minimum maybe because you feel like you have to.
I'm pretty bad about posting consistently on my social media stuff currently.
I see it as a win though. I think it's a good.
Yeah, it could be, but I also like haven't shared important parts of my process that I think are helpful and interesting. You know,
what's the other?
Like I moved out of the studio and built this. I mean, you're literally the first person to see this space,
which I love. This is
yeah. Well, let me say, see this space the way that it's starting to get arranged.
Right.
Right? You know, I see. Last night, this was literally just all filled with stuff. Before we get too far away from it, what's your band called, and what kind of music do you play?
It's an emo band called Borderline Natives.
Cool.
And we've been doing it for about since 2018 is when we started. I think, pretty sure. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. So back on the social media side, what makes you post?
For me, I think mostly it's just stuff that I think is cool, and I think someone who said this really beautifully was Matty Healy from Night 75, where he said that people using it in a fair way this is what I do, and people that get away in the overposting thing is this is who I am. And I think that's where you kind of have to put your head at, you know, because you want people like for shows and stuff, right? We need to post about it because we want people to be there, which you would think would be a no-brainer for some people, but working in like a local scene, you'd be surprised people who don't tell anybody they're playing shows, and you're like, dude, what we posted today? I'm like, one time, so it's like you don't like people to be here, I guess,
right?
But you know, that's the other side of that too, is like. For band stuff, like we have stuff coming out, that's when I'll post, or I want to make sure that people stay informed, because people forget, you know, like we'll book a show 3 months out and I got to post. I mean, I could post the day we book it and know the person who sees something 2 weeks before totally forgot that we were playing it. We'll forget we're playing it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like it comes
if
up
you don't post on social media, you don't show up to your show.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, what was today? So yeah,
Shoot.
personally, I actually, that's interesting you say about you not posting frequently. I think on my personal, I've realized in the last couple of years, it's months and months before I'm like, this is worthy of this, just to be like, this is a cool landmark thing that I did.
Right.
You know, because like one of my recent posts is like when I was able to fully really call music a career, which was last year. And I had a big post about that. And I got to go to as many places as I've done in 1 year and everything. And I was like, that feels like that's worthy.
Dude, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Sharing the highlights is.
yeah.
Yeah.
But just being like happy about it and not be like, check how cool this is. So, look at my amazing life, dude.
Right.
Because we're all like, it's never that. It's really never what we're posting. It's like, yeah, this was cool. I got to play all these shows. But in between, I was stressing about everything, you know? About like, do I have enough money to make it?
The podcast keeps me on a schedule to have to at least show up and be social and have conversations with people, which would be easy for me to not do for weeks on end.
Sure, yeah.
But that also forces me to get posts up, which up to this date, I have not been getting as many of the shorts out that I want. A friend of mine, Richard, who's on another one of the episodes, is helping cut through stuff right now. So we have the shorts that'll go out, but the mechanism for me, or at least the driver for me when I post stuff, I want it to be healthy and a gift to people, like an idea that really makes their day better, you know? And currently I'm just posting like, here's the picture of the episode title, you know? Go listen. But we have so much good content, you know, that I'm excited to share it, and I don't feel guilty about like, it's not like a look at us, you know, it's like, I think it'll be positive for the world, but
well, that's also, that's a big thing for me too. I just want to keep it like, this is a really great, like, good place to be. Sure, thanks for being here. Like, whatever it is, if you're like a follower or a listener, it's like, we really appreciate you being there, you know, like, even though I can't see, that's the thing. You'd think there's some places where you can't reach out directly. It's cool. It's like Spotify, dude. Spotify gives you so much information that you can't use. Like, you can see it and like you can feel, you can calm your ego. But after that first second, you're like, why can't I talk to these 40 people that are listening in Dallas?
Right.
You know, like, why can't I just reach out directly to them and be like, hey, thank you so much for, reaching out. We have a show. Do you guys want us to play out there? You know what I mean? Or you have to go through so many different levels of, hey, like, you got to post that on Instagram and hope that the 40 people that listen to you on Spotify follow on Instagram, which is like probably not the case.
Right.
So it's like, you know, there's still, that's one of those things where like the social media aspects like go a little bit further to benefit everybody, you know, to make it all make sense. Like the analytics matter more, you know?
How are you promoting? Well, let me re-ask that. How are you pushing the band forward? I mean, what's your, like, I guess, business plan to get it more well-known and make billions of dollars?
Well, that's the main thing, right? Is we're going to make $1 million. That's and then it'll all be fine, dude. Everything will be fine.
Yeah. The destination. Then
yeah, dude. It's all about the just the destination. It's not the journey. Yeah. It changes a lot. Like, we know from experience that playing shows is the best way to grow your band. And I feel like a lot of people aren't focusing on fans anymore. It's a lot of this, like, and it's I think it comes from the social media thing of like, you're really focused on people sharing your stuff that are influential people, whether they're actual influencers or just people that people know. But you can't rely on that all the time, right? Because like at the end of the day, those people aren't standing in the front row. And so a lot of bands that are coming up now, they've started with a lot of really big followings from like whether it's TikTok or whatever, and it doesn't translate to real life. And that's the kind of like, well, dude, like if you can play to 30 people, you can play to those 30 people are the reason you're going to play to 30,000.
Right.
You know, but you know, and that's that's kind of the thing too. So we're trying to focus more on the fan base is our most important thing, and obviously making good music. And we've
Kind of important. But.
yeah. It's which is like you'd think that would be but it's like, dude, that's the thing, right? Like it's a great song, but you gotta make it so people can hear it and make sure that they do, and that whole thing goes into the marketing aspect of it, and that's like where it gets really gross. Like it just gets so, because especially when you talk to these entities that are not even like agencies, but just like marketing people and stuff, like and you get your art gets to be put to this, and you're like, this is what you're worth, and everybody tells you a different number, and you're like, but it's, you guys don't even get it though. Like, and it just, boils down to phone calls of people listening to 20 seconds of your song. They're like, we like it. I'm like, you don't even, okay. Yeah. And they're scrubbing it on the phone call, and you're like, oh my God. But, our focus has always been fans and playing with bands that bring out actual people. For a great example, my friend Tyler Phillips put us on this show a couple weeks back with this band from Orlando called Felicity, and it was a free show, and it was right on it's at the Flavor 90s bar in Midtown Nashville, and we were like all really stoked on it, and we got a couple other openers like I added late just to build the hype, but free show, we knew it was going to probably be easier to get people in there. And Tyler hit me up like a week before and he goes, hey man, you're playing right before Felicity. And I was like, oh wow, okay, that's awesome, thank you. And then he did it on purpose because he was like, he's been like, you guys, he's kind of an understanding of where I'm coming from, was like, you guys just need to be put in front of these people. And that was like one of the first shows where we played, we felt really good about it, and then we went back to our merch booth and people were like, oh, like, you guys are really good. Can you sign some stuff? Can we take pictures? And I was like, oh, these are real fans. Which versus like what we get a lot here is other musicians. And they're like, dude, that was a good set. Like,
yeah.
You gonna come to my show? And I'm like, I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah.
We're all like, you're gonna go, right? Or whatever. But like, that's the thing. That is the difference of like between what you would call like something that's a tangible, real show versus like a whatever is like an industry showcase kind of thing. It's like those people. And I think that was like 70, 80 people there. That's what, if you do that a bunch of times, that's what pushes you where you need to be.
Yeah.
I think.
So what are your next big tasks to tackle?
Finishing our record we're halfway through our second record right now. And that's, quite the order just because of like, good music costs a lot of money, and we're an independent band. So it's all coming down to like, what we can do and, try to do it in an effective manner, but not like, stay afloat. And that's kind of where we're at. Like, we just really want to get this new record finished and we'd like to tour more. Like we've just tried to kind of like every little opportunity we get, we've always been like, hey guys, like, you want to do a little run? Like, we'll do it.
Right.
We'll be out there. And I just think that's the way, is just because that's the only way. Like, you get, if you get 15 to 30 people, very loyal fans to the band, not just listeners, just fans that will buy merch and everything, those people will fund your life for, as long, it's crazy, man. And that's all it takes. It's such a minute, small number, but it's tough to like, you really have to put in so much more work than just having a lot of money to pay for a really great marketing thing. It's like, that's cool. And that it'll probably look amazing and it'll probably go really far, but you might not get that fan base you're looking for.
It'll get you followers, but not fans, kind of a nice
Yeah. Because that's a very tough transition, especially online, like, to transition someone from a listener to a fan.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier done because you can't, like I said, you can't go up and be like, hey, thank you for, you can message them and such. It's not the same.
Right.
Right. So.
How did COVID affect the live show situation, and how was the readaptation into that with venues and with bands?
It's different. It was tough coming back out of it. For us, COVID was, well, in a way it was cool because that's when we finished our first record because we had so much time. So it was like we were able to, we recorded our first record in my old house. We did vocals, guitars, and then we recorded drums at a studio in Nashville, brought those back to my house, then re-recorded finals, then sent it to get mixed. So I would never do that again. Because I just, dude, the responsibility of having everything was too much. I was like, I'm gonna, if anything happens to this hard drive, it's over. Right? It's over. And I just sit there and like, I didn't have like a great Mac at the time. I had like a 2014 all-in-one.
Yeah.
So it couldn't handle like 18 tracks. So I had to like condense the drums into one so we could record over it and then send it,
Right.
So I do that 11 times, which was, now I mean, the how busy life is now. It's like, I can't believe I had the time to do that. It was great just to get up, get some coffee and work on music all day.
Right.
That was but like, yeah, we were going to play a show the day it was like a national emergency. Like we were gearing up for that show. It was going to be like a pretty decent sized show. It was going to be at Rocketown with a band. Oh, dude, it was a band called Peach, I think. And a couple other bands. Can't remember, it was a while ago. And we were stoked. I'm like, dude, it was like one of those first ones, like, these guys have followings, like, okay, and then it was like COVID, and it was like 3 days out. We're like, no, dude. And then we didn't play, for a while. We did a live stream during that time. That was cool. But yeah, man, I mean, I think it ultimately made live shows better because now people want to go.
Right.
But it is tough in a saturated market at the same time. Like, because there's, you have a show on a Monday, there's about 25 to 30 other shows happening within 15 miles. So It's tough, you really got to like make it worth it, for people. So I think that makes bands work harder. Or I mean, they should, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you most afraid of right now?
Just in life?
Sure. Personally.
I mean, dude.
Or for the band? Or sorry.
That's a great question. I worry about, I think the biggest thing is like, will something take so long that by the time we're done, it won't like not even matter, because it doesn't matter about like how many people hear it or whatever, but it's just like once we finally get to that position, like, are we going to be satisfied? Because that's the thing, is that once you take so long to put stuff out, you're like, we could do it better. We could do it better. And you're like, there has to be it's like, it's done.
Right.
Next thing, you know?
Yep.
And that's where we're at right now, because we're right in the middle. And I'm like, dude, we have to finish this. But it's like, we can't start something else either. Like, we can't let the era go on, and we can't let it, so.
But you don't want to lose that spark.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, dude. When you want to go over, like, when the iron strikes hot, you want to keep, while it's still going,
Yeah.
So that's, and I think, like, dude, that's the thing of, like, for us, it's always felt like everyone's had our back. Like, we've been, like, everyone's rooting for us.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I think this happens with a lot of people starting, is that, like, nobody wants to, like, be the first person to be like, this is
right.
the band, like, the people. They want to have someone else that's like, whoever,
right,
be like, yo, these guys are great, and then claim, well, I knew about them already.
Right.
Everybody wants to be that person. Nobody wants to be the first person. And that's a very tough thing that people deal with now, I think. I know we're not, I can't imagine we're the only ones. If we are, that's sad. But it's so sad. But like, I think that's a big hurdle now, is just trying to, like, having people care in a very obvious way, because that's how you spread it, right? Like, if people talk about your band, or people find out about it, and, like, you can play bigger shows and see more places in the world. If people keep it to themselves, you're kind of like, well, that's awesome, but, like, dude, like, you're not helping, like, which I think for every band, I've like, so most of the time I'm like, you got to check this band out. You got to listen to this record, you know, especially, I mean, so many examples of like a band like Turnstile is a great example. Like that record that recently came out called Glow On, it's a massive record. But when I first heard it, I was like, this is changing my life. And I need everybody to know this is changing my life, you know? And maybe we haven't gotten to that point with our songs yet, maybe, but like, you know, at the same time, we feel like we're at our best now, which is think where you want to be. And I don't ever want to put that's a fear, I think, of like doing a song and being like, that wasn't as good as the last one we've done. And dude, that worries me all the time. I'm like, is this really gonna, because every day you wake up and you're like, what if I ever write a song again? You know, like you never know, you know, because you don't really know where it comes from either. It just kind of shows up when it, you know, I think because we have so many songs that are like backlogged of like, you know, 30 plus songs, and like maybe 10 of those will see the light of day. That doesn't mean they're 30 amazing songs. It's 30 like ideas, you know?
Right.
So, and I think there's so much that I'm sure every artist type has like really great ideas that are on the back burner, or, you know, a million things you started and you haven't finished it yet. And it's just, it's so interesting.
Yeah. If everything went perfectly for you over the next year, where would you end up? Or let's say, I mean, just like dream big, like what's your perfect life as a musician in the future?
Dude, I think it's touring a lot, playing like festivals and stuff, playing the crowds, coming home for a bit and going back out, and being able to finish recording like whenever kind of thing, and like being able to work on songs frequently, and basically just working on music every day and not having to do anything else. And it's not like that's so far away. It's just the things it's going to take are just, it's just like this weird middle portion where it's just tough to be, you know, just a independent trying to like be loud in a very saturated world, you know, because it's really tough to get people on board when there's so much going on, you know.
Right.
So all you can do is hope to work with people that support it and believe in the vision.
Yeah. And
even when it comes down to band members or whatever, producers, whatever, like, you know, you want everything to be a good environment, because that's so important, especially with songs. Like, you want to, when it's done and out and a single or on a record, you want to hear a song you wrote and go, man, dude, that session was awesome. That session was so fun. Or, you know, man, that one was tough. But we figured it. We got it. Like, we didn't think we were going to get it, but we got it, you know, at the end of the day. So that's kind of like, it all plays into it, you know.
Awesome.
And I think there's so much like comparing yourself to other people and other people's careers, when in reality it doesn't matter at all. Like, if somebody puts a song out the day before your song comes out, it means nothing. If they put a song out the day your song comes out, the only thing that they have in common is they both came out on the same day. You can't compare it. It doesn't, you know, but it's really hard to not think like that.
Right.
Because that's all we care about is numbers now, you know?
Yeah.
I think artists have always kind of cared about numbers, but now it's right in your hand. I don't think that's good, you know, because you end up doing it then you start writing, like we're talking about, cookie cutter stuff that you think's that's going to hit.
Right.
And it never hits, you know. It's never, if you think your audience wants something and you're like, I'm going to write exactly that, that's not what they're there for.
So how do you build a fan base? Let's say you're starting a new band. You have nothing yet, and except for like a couple of songs.
Play shows. I just go play wherever you can. Just keep playing shows. Then you can get more selective.
But what's the process though? Because like you can go play a show and people can hear the song and maybe some of them will like it. But like, you talked about merch, but like the follow up and the social media side, and like, how do you like make a followable band or like a fan worthy band?
I think you just have to be it's relatable and transparent, you know, like you can only be cool. Like I think that turns into like a band's over like longevity success turns you into that kind of like, I don't really think there's rock stars anymore, but that kind of mentality where you're like, what's up? That kind of thing, you know? But none of those people started that way. I mean, maybe some did and they got, you know, like it worked out in that way. But a lot of it is, you know, staying at the venue, talking to other bands, talking to people that came to see you, making sure that people are thinking you're in the back of everybody's head somewhere. And that's a lot of like what we've had to do in the last few years is go to like these events and stuff like that and hang out. And then you kind of like, but there's like there's a time table on that kind of stuff too. Cause like, especially for scenes and stuff, there's only so many people. Like you'll meet everybody and then you can be like, all right, I've done my grunt work. And now you got to come up with plans of like, hey, let's do shows. Let's reach out to people. Hey, let's play a show and bug people, just bother people. That's the other thing is like being okay with rejection and like maybe not obviously like nobody loves that, but it's part of the thing.
No, I mean, any types of sales, like you have to know how to get a no.
Yeah.
Just realize that it means that it wasn't a fit.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you suck.
Exactly. Yeah. And like be persistent, dude. Because that's the thing. Persistence is the key. I think that's get the following is persistence. So like even all the way down to a fan to be like maybe not directly like that, but be like, you listen to this, you're going to listen to the song, right? You're going to have to, right? Like why wouldn't you?
Right.
I don't understand. Or, you know, trying to book sessions or whatever and being like, we're doing this, right? This is happening. Let's get this people on board, even with show, like is this the date? Is this the date? You got to be that guy. You have to come in and be professional about the whole thing too, and expect, I don't know if it's good to expect to be the most professional person there, but I think it's a good mindset to have because then that's what you give off, you know, not in an arrogant way, but you're prepared,
right?
You know, even when it comes down to like run of shows and stuff like that, just be like, what is it? Like, what's having a stage plot and just being someone that if they're talking to you, they know whether it's a promoter, a producer, a manager, whatever, your time's valuable and they're not wasting time talking to you, and knowing what your goal is important because then a lot of people go like, I'm kind of doing whatever.
Right.
Because I mean, that's a creative thing, I think, though. Like, I'm just trying to figure it out. And you're just like, well, yeah, we all are, man. But like, what do you need, you know? And that's the thing, because you're going to have that conversation eventually. You want an answer.
Yeah.
Because if someone's coming up to you asking, what do you need? And you go, I don't really know. Well, cool. See ya. You know what I mean?
Right,
like, yeah, that's really help. So,
what would you tell a younger version of yourself? I mean, like, what would you have wished you learned earlier?
Piano.
Okay.
Piano. Oh my god, dude! If I could go back and be like, dude, just play piano. It'll get you it'll help you out because now I do. But like, man, if I had 10 more years, dude, I'd be killing it on the piano right now. And I'm just like, that's it, you know. Besides piano, dude,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't know, man. It's tough. I would just start trying to like go full force at it earlier, I guess, you know. And that's something you have to learn, I think, of like where it lies, which is hard to say because like, dude, life is crazy, you know, and the time you have to pursue creative stuff is like, you know, it's all like kind of whatever until it starts becoming somewhat profitable, so then you can put more time into it, right? Like, yeah. So because other stuff's gonna get in the way, like rent or whatever. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if it's the 5th and you don't have, you know, you're $150 short or whatever, the song you wrote yesterday, that's still getting mixed, isn't really gonna help you with that. You know what I mean?
How long have you been in Nashville?
7 years, going on 8 years.
And you came from where?
Michigan.
Okay, that's right. What was Michigan like?
Cold.
Well,
very cold. The summers were cool. The 2 months of summer, barely. Give it a week and a half of the year. Michigan, dude, like, you know, I grew up in a small town. My dad, his brothers were all very musical, and he was always playing in bands, and my uncles were playing in bands and stuff. And he was a DJ too, so like I had a huge eclectic music upbringing based mostly on the Beatles. It was huge in my house, still is. I mean, Paul McCartney is one of my biggest influences for like all time. But yeah, it was, playing music, trying to figure out what I want. I knew I could sing early on. It was always like to the point where so early, I think it's crazy people can't sing because it's been there for so long. And I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I can't really sing. I'm like, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean you can't sing?
You just spoke words.
Yeah, like you just said something that doesn't make any sense to me at all. And then I picked up a guitar. I think it was like fifth grade or something like that. And I played. My dad plays drums left-handed, so I play drums left-handed. And so I play a bunch of different instruments, but that was all from that, just kind of like growing up in a place that was very music centric home. And I did bands there too, and a lot of them were jam bands. I was always like from way before high school, all that. I was like, I want to be a musician.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. What do you want to do with your life? Play on stage.
Yep.
That's it. Walk around, listen to music, thinking about how to get on a stage. How do I get a band together? How do I make a song? How do I, and just how do I write songs? And I had to I don't think I started writing songs after. I was doing a lot of cover stuff, and learning full records of Blink and Green Day and whatever, and all those early Taking Back Sunday, all that stuff, and then finally just sitting down and starting to write, and it just was like all of a sudden it was like I was writing songs. So yeah, man, and then it just turned into a lot of like my dreams or goals were way higher than everybody that I was like playing with. They just wanted to jam. And I was just kind of like, well, I want more though. Like I this isn't like a hobby, and I kept trying to push that away as far as I could. Like people calling it a hobby. I was like, it's the worst word for this.
Right.
Cause that kind of means like
it's a life.
Yeah. I'm like, it doesn't, your hobby wouldn't control you like music controls me. I mean, like I have such a connection to it. Like if I can't go a day without listening to it. There's people that do that. I think that's incredibly insane. If you can't listen to a song, like I'll just drive in silence. What? Don't the voices get loud?
Right. Yeah.
Or the like the static.
Yep.
Just I know it's like it's always been like that though. It's always been just like the lifeblood of me. It's just any kind of music.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What has the transition from a small town into Nashville been like for you? What are the good things and the bad things? The
good things are like it's faster. Everything's faster paced. Now, with that being said, Tennessee is, stuff. It like when it comes to like getting stuff done, the people are from here. When you like have deadlines to meet and stuff like that, where it's like everyday things, a lot of stuff's like kind of like, whoa, let's chill out. It's like we don't need to do this right now.
It's very chill.
Yeah, hey, whoa, like we can get it done in a week. We're like coming from the north, it'd be like, yeah, when do you want it done? Like right now?
Yeah.
So that aspect is kind of annoying. But moving into like a pretty, now booming city, there's a lot of opportunity here for sure. It's one of those things where like there's people that stay in your hometown. And they're like, why would you ever leave? I'm like, because there's just so much more to the world. And moving into a city, you really learn like there's so much going on, like all the time. Like and that's been great. Just because we can do things. Like a lot of the stuff that we've done in the city, I don't think I could have done in Michigan. Just
right.
Sheer amount of like the saturation of artists is a huge thing, but it's like that means there's a lot more gigs. Right. So, and I guess that would be the con is like the saturation because so many people moved here, especially after COVID. Like so many people moved here,
right?
And it was like, oh my god, there's so much traffic now. When it used to take 10 minutes to get anywhere, now it's like 45.
That's so funny, depending on the time of day.
Yeah.
We had an office at one point in Grand Junction, Colorado, which is western Colorado, and in Denver. And Denver's traffic, I mean, this is not objective at all, but my experience of Denver's traffic was it was so much worse than the worst I see here
Oh.
by far. So it's like the worst that I get here. I'm like, oh yeah, I had to like slow down like a lot one time. I'm just teasing.
It's just,
I mean, there were accidents though.
yes.
Like 700 times more than.
Well, I think the most aggravating thing, I love that we got here, is that we got to traffic. Is there's no reason for it. That's so aggravating. Every time you're like, what did we wait? We sat for 45 minutes for nothing. Some guy, it's the dude in front, slowed down, and then we just slowed down all day. And you're like, what are we doing? Like, we're just parked. So that's what gets me.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how assertive the drivers are here, but also generally how, at least compared to where I come from, they'll let you in if you turn your turn signal on most of the time.
Yeah.
Like
What? That's awesome. Well, it's a lot of like, I think the biggest thing is like people not making the decision.
oh, right.
I'm like, dude, just do something. Like, you're staying or going. What are you doing? And I'm like, that's why we're back here.
Right.
That's why we're sitting waiting for you to go. So yeah, that's probably the root of it. But yeah,
I think also occasionally cars literally just fall into the potholes.
yeah. And you got to drive around. Yeah.
Uh-huh. I mean, but they're just stuck in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, they said that they patched after that storm. In 2 weeks. They patched 4,000 potholes.
Oh my gosh.
Which is
why they're so bad.
Dude, I don't know. They just don't know how to maintain it for that kind of. It snows once, or like it's over.
So funny.
Yeah.
What excites you most about where the music industry is going?
I love that how obtainable music is. I think that's huge. That, and like how you can really make really great records in your bedroom now. That being said, like you need a little bit of help with that. I think you need to have somebody that knows how to mix and stuff like that. Or you can learn but you can also learn, you can sit there and learn how to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a beautiful thing. But also like the genre thing, like you don't have to necessarily have one anymore. It does kind of help to keep you on a path a little bit.
I'm thankful for that part, but
yeah. You can really experiment now, and you can kind of make a song for anybody.
right.
Where the reach is incredible. That's the biggest thing about like social media in the pro section is like the reach. You could never reach those people. Right. And I don't, the thing with streaming is that like that's the beauty of it. Like anybody could just start listening to your music, and that can change. That'll be, it could be anybody.
Right.
And that's exciting. I think the focus needs to go back on live shows though a little bit more. Like I was saying, like fan base stuff is taking a back seat now. And I don't think, and it might just be our scene, but it just feels like that needs to come full circle.
No, I love that emphasis. I haven't heard anybody expressly state that like you have. So,
well, and that's the thing, man. It's so like some of it can be really disheartening. It's just like, well, what are we doing? Like what are we like? That's great that this person saw this or something, but like, now what? You know what I mean? Like, cool. Like, but what are they gonna do? They're not gonna give you $1 million because they liked your band, unless they're like I don't know. Even if you like met ahead of a label, that doesn't really.
They're not going to give you
no.
Maybe loan it to you.
Yeah, they're a bank. That's the other thing. I mean, I think that labels have always been kind of a bank situation.
Yeah.
And now more than ever, because now their perks you can do for like a fraction of the price now, and you can own everything, so now it's just about like finding, I think it's more about funding now than anything. Because now a lot of people do like GoFundMe's and stuff. Yeah. And people get albums made that way, it's insane how the internet has changed the industry as a whole. Even back to when like, whenever like people started stealing music back in the day,
mm-hmm.
that was crazy. And you really think back to like when that whole Napster thing was going on, everyone was giving Metallica like. And now we're on the other end of it where it's like we're getting paid minimal amounts. But then at the same time, a lot of people were like, I was watching an interview with the dude from Bowling for Soup, and he's like, we weren't making money on CDs really anyway. That was going somewhere.
Right.
Now you are getting something, which is great that you're getting something at all, and it's,
right.
He's saying like, if you're not happy with your streams, get them up, get them, try to figure out a way to get them up.
Right.
And, I think that's all on the back end. I think people don't think about that. I think it's more about like, if this person sees it, if this person sees it, if this person shares it, then we'll get 1 million streams. And it's like, well, no, because that's not how that, you have to work with the systems at play here. You have to work with the algorithm and but the other side of it, dude, it sucks, to be like, because there's just, dude, sometimes whether it's Instagram, Spotify, it's not on your side. Sometimes it just straight up doesn't want people to see your stuff. And you're like, great.
Yay.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
So fun. What are obviously there are plenty of directions this could go, but what are the biggest struggles for new artists and new bands or even like old ones? Like moving forward, that's what you're excited about. And I think that's great. But what are the difficulties moving forward?
I think it just goes back to the saturation thing. And it's a lot of like, what I've seen for us is a lot of it's like, it's not up to us. You can have an amazing record, you can have an amazing song and have a thing and have a brand and whatever. And unless people choose it, it doesn't, you can't do anything about it, And that's going to be really tough for people to swallow. It's tough for me to swallow right now because I can try my best and put every last dollar I have into the band and until I'm, I can't afford a place to live. Like I can go all that way and do blood, sweat, and tears to the bitter end. And unless somebody decides that it's time for this to happen, it doesn't matter, because everybody can do it now.
Yeah.
So that's the devil's advocate of it all is like, you're a catch-22. One of those sayings. But yeah, that's tough, dude. It's really tough because it's the only thing you can do is, like I said, be persistent and just act like it doesn't matter. Just like, we'll just keep doing stuff until something happens,
Right.
And then you ask yourself like, but how long can we do that for? And I don't know.
Yeah.
It might turn into a thing where it's like, well, dude, we've been doing this for 20 years and no one seems to think that see the path. And then it goes to the great question. It's like, would you still make music if nobody heard it? And I would say yes.
Yeah.
And I'd probably, but I guess at that point, if I like quit caring so much of like trying to like make it this giant thing, I probably would enjoy it a little bit more. I think it goes the same thing with like what we said earlier with social media, like an experience that you're having. That's a beautiful thing, whatever you're seeing in front of you.
Yep.
And you feel like you have to share it with everybody.
Yeah.
But it's more amazing if you don't, it's for you. There really is nothing like, I've always loved where you have time you have a space, even if it's just playing to music, like, because I did like to learn a lot of stuff. I would just run my phone through the PA and just, we're playing this record, playing it all the way through and just singing and playing guitar.
Yeah.
It's great. Do it forever, hours and hours and hours, Yeah. That's the like core of it. And then if you have your own stuff to do that too, that's awesome too, like that's
totally.
fun. That's fun. So that aspect, I don't think will ever stop being fun. Just the act of playing it is amazing,
Dude.
But also playing to people is great. Playing in empty rooms is not.
Yeah.
But you have to play in empty rooms, dude, to know why you promote it.
I have a weird question for you. How do you have a algorithm proof way of finding new great bands and music? How are you finding?
So for me, a lot of it is like, a lot of recently have been through Instagram, or like a really weird way to do it is if you go on YouTube and type in a genre and like a new playlist, of just random people and just listen to it. That's the way to go. But a lot of them have been like pushed to me through an algorithm.
Right.
I am finding bands that way. Or like I think Spotify does a really good job of showing you, because that's how that thing is designed.
Yeah.
Even though if you're an artist putting out music, you're like, but that's not giving it to anybody.
Yeah.
But that algorithm, I think, is designed to push new music every day to people.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of it's been like the playlist aspect, or like going to see a band and the opening band's amazing. You know, that's always been like a thing. And what I like to do, I'll go to local shows to find new talent for us to play with, and I'll be like, these guys are really good. Let's get on a show. And most of the time they'll be like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. So that's because, you know, you play with the same people, same bands, you know, you get a scene going, you gotta like, but you have to you can't gatekeep it.
Yeah.
That's a big problem here, I think, is the gatekeeping of a scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, but you guys are eating yourself, because it's only like, it's just going in a circle. It's the real life version of like people that buy streams.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't do anything. It doesn't,
It hurts you.
It hurts you, yeah. Those streams don't go anywhere, and it makes your ego feel really great that you put in $20 and got 50,000 streams or whatever. But that's the same.
And canceled by Spotify.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we obviously this is bots.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with that, where like if they keep a scene niche and to like, you know, 15, 20 people, it doesn't go anywhere, and then it dies.
Right.
Because it can only, like, how many times are we going to do events where it's the same, you know, 4 of us over and over again?
Yeah.
Like shows, you can keep playing with the same people for way long, because people don't remember shows. Like, they forget that they're happening. They'll finally go see it, and then they'll be like, man, you guys haven't played in a while. And I was like, that was like 3 weeks ago. So that's kind of like, you know, that's the exception, I think. But even with that, dude, you got to keep finding people.
Mm.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. How would you, this is a tangent, but how would you want somebody to describe you behind your back? How do you want to be known by other people?
Like I'm a real person. You know what I mean? Like I'm another human that, like, that dude is who he is, you know, not like, I couldn't figure that guy out, you know? That seems just like a genuine, I think is the best way to put it. Like, and that could mean so much, but like, you know, like I that's definitely Kevin. Kevin is who he is, you know, because that's the thing, man. Like, I've always felt like I've been the same person in every room I'm in, and it's just easier, you know.
Yeah.
Even if I don't get along with somebody, I'll be like, this ain't happening, dude. I'm sorry. I don't know. Yeah. We're not vibing. We don't have to even like talk about it. It's fine. You know, whatever.
That's why I walked out.
Yeah, that's why I left. That's why we didn't do another session, or whatever the case is, or we didn't book another show because it's just like, you know, man. Because you shouldn't have to do that either. You know, why would you put yourself through that? Because everybody does, though.
Right.
They're like, I don't like this, but it is what it is. I guess it's like, no, man. Like that doesn't do anything either. That's the same thing. It's like it's very negative. You know what? Because then people can, especially on a show bill. If you don't vibe with the people that you're playing with, dude, the audience will know that. Oh, these guys are beefing. Even if it's in your band, that's very obvious. But it's like if the lineup's beefing, you know, dude, that's not a good vibe. Mm-hmm. That's not you want people to come to shows and have a good time, and it's a safe space. It's unifying,
right?
And that's kind of what our name represents. Is the borderline native thing? Is like anybody can be one, you know. And if you come to a show, you are one. And there's all these other people here that probably didn't feel, at some point, didn't feel like they belonged. Well, you belong here, you know, with us. So that's kind of what we try to, like, push. Oh, it's just a very, like, you know, good music and a really fun environment, you know.
What I'm hearing you say, and I love this, is you're not trying to build a fan base, you're trying to build a community, you know. And that's cool. It's interesting. I like it. What's the answer to life?
Love, dude. No,
so funny.
Dude, you ever been in love? No, I don't know, man. I dude, for me it's music. It's music, but I think connection, you know? having to just connect with people in general. And obviously having like, that can mean a lot of things, especially when it comes to like having a person that's your person. That's why, dude. I mean, we're meant, I think a lot of us are, as humans, I think we're meant to be paired up at some point with whoever it is. So it's like to find like your, have a genuine connection with somebody, whether that's with friends or romantic partners or whatever. And because you can be really good at being by yourself. I'm one of those people. I'm amazing by myself, dude. I like who I am as a person, so I don't it's entertaining. It's like, cool, man, we're vibing over here. And there's people that are like that. People don't like who they are. But I think whatever the case is, you need some kind of connection to make it all make sense, and to relate. And be like, dude, I'm not feeling it today. I don't know what's going on mentally, but I'm not here. I'm not. And then someone could be like, oh yeah, dude, I have that also right now, or I had that a couple weeks ago. This is a guy kind of like, in that same headspace. And just like, dude, being okay with not being okay. I think that's mental health now has been way bigger of like, it's always been there, but I think people wanted to push it away for a long time, but it's so important, dude. And I think now people are finally like coming to terms with like, you meet people and are like, oh, I'm in therapy. And you're like, hell yeah, dude. That's sick, dude. I was like, oh, versus like therapy.
Right.
For what,
Right.
That's huge, dude.
Therapy has revolutionized my life for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like not being okay is okay. Let's just be open and talk about it. Don't hide it, from yourself or whatever. But
yeah.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing with other people you think might gain value from it.